Okay, so I'm a pretty big Walking Dead fan, I would say. I played all the Telltale games, rewatched the main show countless times, and seen most of the spin offs, and I'm pretty up to date on the current spin offs. But one piece of the Walking Dead media I never really could get into is Fear the Walking Dead. I tried many times because I've always wanted to see the start of the apocalypse in the Walking Dead universe, but I just never got around to it. But early this year, I started to watch it. I just started season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead. And God, is it hard to continue to watch. I'm really trying, but they've ruined the show. I mean, obviously, nothing I'm about to say is new. It's pretty commonly agreed upon that this show sucks, but I do feel like this show had potential. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. The good, the bad, the ugly, what they did wrong, and what they could have done better. My name is Pat. Before we get into this video, I just want to shout out my Twitch and second channel. Links will be in the description below. Now, let's get into this. The good. The idea behind Fear is amazing. Take an entire new cast in a completely new setting in an established universe, The Walking Dead, to add on to the world building, which is always awesome. But in this time, it starts with the fall of the society and the start of the apocalypse, while The Walking Dead started about a couple weeks into the apocalypse already. And to me, that's something I've always wanted when it comes to The Walking Dead universe. I'm a really big fan of world building or universe building. And Fear does a really good job the first few seasons, showing how America, specifically the West Coast, handled it all. The riots, the safe zones, the military, learning more about Operation Cobalt, all of it. It really helped the world building aspect of the universe. Now, the original cast, I loved. I know Madison's character is hit or miss with people, but I thought she was okay. Her doing what she must to protect the family despite her morals, but then seeing the damage it caused on herself and her kids, and then going and trying to fix it and put more of a priority on keeping their humanity. Shout out Dale. I really admire that, and then learning that she had to kill somebody before the fall of the world, and that's what was able to give her that numb, cold presence. It made a lot of sense. Now, Alicia, I don't have much to say about. I know the actress from The 100, and I like her. I definitely think she's one of the more attractive people in The Walking Dead. Really only having competition from Rosita, which, Abraham, you fumbled the bag, man. Seriously. Anyways, I also appreciate her relationship with Nick, especially when she took care of him, like in the beginning when they're held up at the house and he's dealing with withdrawals. In certain ways, their relationship reminded me of me and my sister's relationship, so that's a plus. Some honorable mentions for characters I really liked are Travis, despite his unfortunate ending. I thought he was a badass. Not the same as Rick, but still was able to take on a ton of walkers alone in a mud pit and no weapon. He was unique, and I appreciate them getting an actual Maui, or sorry if I mispronounced that, but a Maori actor to play him. Besides him, Dan the Man's a legend. If you know, you know. And Victor is awesome. I mean, I love his survivor mindset, being able to do things others wouldn't to survive. I know I mentioned the 100 earlier, but I really like characters that will make morally wrong options for the fact that it provides them a better chance to survive in. So characters like Victor or Murphy from the 100 are always going to be within my top favorites. Now, Nick was special in my opinion. Personally, he was on track to be Fear the Walking Dead's Daryl Dixon, not only in solo survival skills, but in popularity. His character reminds me a lot of myself, especially a couple years ago, so that is a plus, because I can feel more connected and immersed within the show. I also really liked his hair. I know it's random, but it really fit him. And in general, I enjoyed how he interacted with everyone in the show. He's just a really good actor, and I wish he was in more films and shows. Lastly, I gotta talk about Troy Otto. As of where I am in the show, he is by far the best villain. Not like that's hard to beat, but he's actually a character that's somewhat complex, and you can tell there's more going on, especially mentally. And he's never gotten the help he needed. And with the world falling apart, it was only a matter of time, which I appreciate in villains. And I really appreciate when films or pieces of media can portray that well. I think it's very lazy to just have the bad guy be the bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy. A good antagonist is complex and at times morally gray, like Shane or Negan. Now let's move on to the bad. The showrunners. Now, I'm not talking about Dave Erickson, because he's the reason behind all the good that I just mentioned. I'm talking about Andrew and Ian Goldberg. They ruined what the show could have been. They first decided to get rid of the main cast, besides Alicia and Nick, and decided to replace them with a bunch of random people that I simply just don't care about. Their stories don't intrigue me, and I find their arcs boring. And all the bouncing around between flashbacks and the group splitting up, it gets very confusing and creates poor pacing within the show. Like I mentioned, I'm only as far as season 6, but so far it seems like they don't even know what direction they want to take the show in. And look, when your best/main character, Nick, quits the show because of the new decisions being made, you're doing something wrong. Also, quickly, I just want to mention the show's tone has changed, it feels like. The show is less serious. I mean, just compare the original intro versus the season 5 intros. And I did say intros, plural, because they changed every few episodes. And some of the stunts in the show were just ridiculous, at least to me. For example, being able to find a hot air balloon that wasn't stolen or had any rips or tears in the balloon, and then to fly it over an entire state, that's pretty insane. To be fair, I do remember in the early seasons of the show, a walker somehow punched through drywall, which drywall's not that hard. You know, your little brother Kyle or whatever can do it. But he was also able to not only punch through drywall, he was also able to pull a grown man with body armor and supplies on him through a wall, bending him in half, breaking his neck. But even then, at least it was done in a horror tone and was overall pretty fucking cool. And I guess you could always explain it, he had just freshly turned and he was a very jacked up zombie. But I mean, there's always ways you can explain certain things in the show. But what they did wrong and what they could have done better. In conclusion, I think it was a great show with potential. And I hope it picks up in the later seasons as they try to finish it, but I wouldn't have gotten rid of the original showrunner. Because of that, we lost Madison and Nick. And Alicia takes a back seat in the show due to Morgan and his new gang. And honestly, they wouldn't have to change much, just create a better, more convincing antagonist to deal with throughout the show. Keep the original family, or at least for a while longer, and give them better deaths. Talking about you, Travis, they did you dirty, dog. And they would have been fine. And keep the serious, somewhat horror theme of the show. Do I think it would have surpassed The Walking Dead? Obviously not, but maybe then it wouldn't have been such a flop. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions. What would you do differently if you ran the show? Besides that, make sure to like, subscribe, and put on those notifications. It helps the algorithm, and I appreciate it. Also, make sure to check the links in the description for my Twitch, second channel, and all my other socials. With that being said, stay safe, stay snazzy, and stay blessed.